Before we begin, I need to warn you about something. This story is going to make you uncomfortable. It should. Because what happened to Aaliyah Brooks happens every single day. And the people who did it, they thought they'd never be caught. They were wrong. This is the story of how a young Black woman was humiliated, dismissed, and dehumanized by everyone around her, until the day she made them all pay. Stay with me, because this gets dark before it gets better. Aaliyah Brooks was 23 years old when her mother died. She remembers standing at the grave, rain pouring down, completely alone. No father, no siblings, no safety net. Her mother had always told her the same thing. Education is the key. Work hard enough, and it won't matter what you look like. Aaliyah believed her. She graduated top of her class, double major, honors, glowing recommendations. And then came the rejection letters. We regret to inform you. Not a good fit for our company culture. We've decided to move forward with other candidates. One after another after another. So, Aaliyah did what she had to do. She worked 2 jobs. During the day, she stocked shelves at a grocery store. At night, she cleaned office buildings. She told herself it was temporary, that someone would eventually see her worth. But here's what Aaliyah didn't know yet. Some people had already decided her worth the moment they saw her face. It was a Tuesday morning when it happened. Aaliyah was working the checkout line. A woman approached with a full cart, middle-aged, expensive purse, the kind of person who makes eye contact with everyone except service workers. Aaliyah smiled. "Good morning. How are you today?" The woman didn't respond. She just stared at Aaliyah's hands as she scanned items. Then, loud enough for everyone to hear, the woman said, "Can you hurry up? I don't want her touching my food too long." The store went quiet. Aaliyah's manager was standing 10 feet away. He heard everything, and he said nothing. Aaliyah kept scanning, kept smiling, kept pretending her hands weren't shaking. Because that's what you do when you need the job. You swallow it. But here's the thing about swallowing poison. Eventually, it builds up. 3 weeks later, Aaliyah got a call. Harrington Company, one of the biggest financial firms in the city. They wanted to interview her for an analyst position. She couldn't believe it. Finally, someone saw her resume and not just her name. The building was glass and steel, the kind of place where everyone's shoes cost more than her rent. Aaliyah walked through the lobby in her best suit, the one she bought at a thrift store and had tailored to fit perfectly. The security guard stopped her. "Deliveries go around back." Aaliyah blinked. "I'm sorry?" "Deliveries," he repeated, already looking past her. "Around back." "I'm here for an interview." He looked her up and down, slowly, like he was trying to find the punchline. "Right. Name?" She gave it. He checked his list. His eyebrows went up. "Huh. Okay. Elevators are that way." No apology, just mild surprise that she could read. Aaliyah took the elevator to the 14th floor. Her heart was pounding, not from nerves, from anger. But she pushed it down, smiled, walked into the conference room. 2 men, both white, both in their 50s, both looking at her like she was a fascinating science experiment. The first one spoke. "So, Aaliyah, interesting name. Is that African?" She'd heard this before. "It's Arabic, actually." "Oh, wow. You're very articulate." There it was. The second man leaned forward. We're really committed to diversity here. It's important to us that everyone feels comfortable. Do you think you'd be comfortable working with people who may not relate to your background? Aaliyah kept her face neutral. I've worked with all kinds of people. I'm sure I'll be fine. They asked a few technical questions. She answered flawlessly. They seemed almost disappointed. At the end, the first man smiled. Well, we'll be in touch. 2 days later, they called. She got the job. But not as an analyst. Her title was General Assistant. No desk, no computer, no business cards. On her first day, they handed her a list of tasks. Organize files, make copies, fetch coffee, clean the break room. Aaliyah stood there, staring at the paper. This wasn't what they advertised. This wasn't what they interviewed her for. But she needed the job. So she said, Of course. Where should I start? The woman who handed her the list, Karen, smiled. You're going to fit in great here. Aaliyah spent the morning filing documents in a storage room, alone. At lunch, she walked into the break room. 6 people were sitting at a table, laughing, talking. The moment Aaliyah entered, the conversation stopped. She smiled. Hi, I'm Aaliyah. I just started today. One guy nodded. Cool. That was it. They went back to their conversation, like she wasn't there. Aaliyah made her coffee and left. It was going to be a long job. 2 weeks in, Aaliyah was walking past a cubicle when someone called her name. Hey, Aaliyah! It was Mark. Mid-30s, polo shirt. The kind of guy who says, just playing devil's advocate, in every meeting. Yeah? Can you grab me a coffee? Extra cream, 2 sugars? Aaliyah paused. I'm actually in the middle of something. There's a coffee station right there. Mark laughed. Come on, it's on your way. It wasn't. But Aaliyah knew how this worked. Push back too hard, and you're difficult. Let it slide, and it gets worse. She got him the coffee. As she handed it to him, he took a sip and made a face. Ugh, this is terrible. Can you make another one? Someone nearby laughed. Aaliyah smiled. Sure. She walked back to the coffee station, made another cup, brought it back. This time, Mark didn't even look at her, just took it and turned back to his computer. Thanks. No eye contact, no appreciation, just thanks. Like she was furniture. A month in, Aaliyah was at her desk when Linda walked by. Linda was in HR. Blonde, bubbly, the kind of person who says, I don't see color, at least once a week. She stopped behind Aaliyah, and then Aaliyah felt it. Hands in her hair. Oh my God, your hair is so cool. Is this all yours? It's so different. Aaliyah froze. She wanted to scream, to spin around and say, don't ever touch me again. But she didn't. She smiled. Yeah, it's mine. Wow, I could never do something like that. Does it take forever to wash? Not really. Interesting. Linda walked away. Aaliyah sat there, fists clenched under her desk. She texted her best friend that night. I don't know how much longer I can do this. 3 months in, Aaliyah had an idea. The company was losing clients because their reporting system was outdated. Aaliyah had worked in data analysis before. She knew how to fix it. So she put together a proposal. Charts, projections, a full implementation plan. She emailed it to her supervisor. No response. A week later, she followed up. Still nothing. 2 weeks after that, there was a company-wide meeting. The CEO stood at the front of the room. "I want to recognize Mark for his innovative thinking. His new reporting system is going to save us time and money. Great work, Mark." Everyone clapped. Aaliyah stared at the screen. It was her proposal, word for word. Mark stood up, grinning. "Thanks, everyone. Just trying to think outside the box." Aaliyah's supervisor caught her eye and smiled, like he was daring her to say something. She didn't. Not yet. The next day, Aaliyah walked into the break room to heat up her lunch. 3 coworkers were already there. Mark, Linda, and a guy named Derek from accounting. They were mid-conversation. "I'm just saying," Derek was saying. "The whole diversity hire thing is getting out of hand. Like, we should hire the best person for the job, not just check a box." Mark nodded. "Exactly. I mean, I'm all for equality, but come on." Linda lowered her voice, but not enough. "You know who they're talking about, right?" Aaliyah stood at the microwave, frozen. "Oh, totally," Mark said. "I mean, she's nice and all, but let's be real. She's here because they needed to hit a quota." Derek laughed. "Yeah, and she's always so serious. Like, relax. Not everything is about race." "Right?" Linda added. "People like her are always looking for something to be offended by." The microwave beeped. Aaliyah grabbed her food and walked out. She didn't eat lunch that day. She sat in the bathroom stall and cried. A few days later, Aaliyah's supervisor, Richard, called her into his office. She thought maybe, finally, someone was going to acknowledge what was happening. She was wrong. Richard leaned back in his chair. "Aaliyah, sit down." She sat. "I've been hearing some things," he said. "Some people feel like you're not really a team player." Aaliyah's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "Well, you know. You don't really join in during lunch. You're kind of standoffish." "I'm not standoffish. I'm just focused on my work." Richard smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "Look, I get it. You're new. But you need to understand something. Culture fit is really important here. And right now, you're not fitting." Aaliyah's voice was quiet. "Is this because I'm black?" Richard's smile disappeared. "That's a serious accusation, Aaliyah. And frankly, it's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. You can't just throw around words like that." "I'm not throwing anything around. I'm asking a question." "Well, don't. It makes people uncomfortable." Aaliyah stared at him. "Is there anything else?" she asked. "Yeah. Work on your attitude. That's all." She walked out of his office, shaking. 2 weeks later, the company landed a huge client. A $15 million deal. The biggest in years. There was going to be a presentation, numbers, projections, the works. Richard assigned the task to Mark. But here's the thing. Mark was terrible with data. Everyone knew it. 3 days before the presentation, Mark was panicking. Aaliyah overheard him talking to Derek. "Dude, I don't know what half these numbers mean. If I screw this up, I'm done." Derek laughed. "Just wing it. You always do." "Not with 15 million on the line." Aaliyah thought about staying quiet. She thought about letting him fail. But she couldn't. So she walked over. "I can help." Mark looked up. "What?" "With the presentation. I can help. I used to do this kind of analysis all the time." Mark hesitated. Then he smiled. "Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks." Aaliyah spent the next 2 days fixing his data, cleaning up his projections, making sure every number was airtight. Mark didn't say thank you. He just took the file and said, "Cool, I'll take it from here." The day of the presentation came. The CEO was there, the entire executive team, and the client. Mark stood at the front of the room with his laptop and a laser pointer. Aaliyah sat in the back. Mark started talking. At first, everything seemed fine, but then he got to the projections, and something was wrong. The numbers didn't match. The client noticed immediately. "Wait, hold on. This chart says one thing, but your summary says another. Which one is correct?" Mark froze. Let me just..." He clicked through the slides. His face was red. "I think there might be a small error here." The client frowned. "A small error? This is a $15 million contract. We need accurate data." The CEO stood up. "Mark, what's going on?" I don't know. The file must have gotten corrupted or something." Aaliyah's stomach twisted. She knew what happened. Mark hadn't used her file. He'd used his original one, the one full of mistakes. The meeting fell apart. The client walked out. The CEO was furious. After the meeting, the CEO called an emergency meeting. Everyone was there. "I want to know," the CEO said, his voice ice cold, "how this happened. Who was responsible for this presentation?" Mark shifted in his seat. "I was, but I had help." The CEO's eyes narrowed. "Help from who?" Mark looked directly at Aaliyah. "Aaliyah did most of the data work." Aaliyah's heart stopped. "What?" she said. "Yeah," Mark continued. "She put together the projections. I just presented them." Richard jumped in. "That's right. I assigned Aaliyah to assist Mark on this." Aaliyah couldn't believe what she was hearing. "That's not true," she said. "I fixed the data for him. He didn't use my file." The CEO looked at her. "Do you have proof of that?" Aaliyah opened her mouth, then closed it. She didn't have proof. She'd sent the file to Mark, but he'd never replied. She hadn't saved the email thread. Richard shook his head. "Aaliyah, this is very disappointing. We trusted you with an important task, and you let us down." "I didn't..." "Enough," the CEO said. "We'll discuss disciplinary action later. This meeting is over." Everyone filed out. Aaliyah sat there, stunned. They were going to fire her, and there was nothing she could do about it. That night, Aaliyah sat in her apartment, staring at her laptop. She was done. She'd tried. She'd kept her head down. She'd worked twice as hard as everyone else, and they were still going to destroy her. But then something occurred to her. Mark had sent her emails before. Lots of them. She opened her inbox and started scrolling, and there it was. An email from 3 days before the presentation. Subject line: data file. Mark had written, "Hey, can you send me the updated version? I think I lost mine." Aaliyah had replied with the corrected file, and Mark had responded, "Got it, thanks." She kept scrolling. There were more. Emails where Richard had dismissed her ideas, only to use them later. Emails where Linda had made racist comments disguised as jokes. Emails where Derek had openly mocked her. Aaliyah's hands stopped shaking. She wasn't going down alone. Aaliyah spent the next week quietly gathering evidence. Every email, every text, every document. She compiled them into a single file. She printed copies, saved backups, made sure nothing could be deleted or hidden. Then she waited. The disciplinary meeting was scheduled for Friday. Aaliyah walked in with a folder under her arm. Richard, the CEO, and the head of HR were already there. "Aaliyah," the CEO began, "we've reviewed the situation and we've decided—" "Before you continue," Aaliyah interrupted, "I'd like to present something." She placed the folder on the table. "What is this?" Richard asked. "Evidence." She opened it. Inside were printed emails, time-stamped, highlighted. "This," Aaliyah said, pointing to the first page, "is the email where Mark asked me for the corrected data file. And this is his response, confirming he received it." The CEO picked up the page. "This," Aaliyah continued, "is a chain where Richard ignored my proposal and then submitted it under Mark's name 3 weeks later." Richard's face went pale. "And this," she said, pulling out another document, "is a record of every racist comment made in the break room, with witnesses." The HR director leaned forward. "You recorded conversations?" she asked. "No, I documented them. Dates, times, exact quotes. Some of these people have already confirmed what was said." The CEO looked at Richard, then at the folder. "How long has this been going on?" he asked quietly. Aaliyah met his eyes. "Since the day I started." The room was silent. The CEO closed the folder. "Richard, you're suspended pending investigation. Mark, Linda, and Derek will be placed on administrative leave as well." Richard's mouth opened. "You can't be serious." "I'm very serious. This is a liability, a massive one. And if any of this gets out—" He trailed off, then looked at Aaliyah. "What do you want?" Aaliyah hadn't expected that question. "I want an apology, a public one. I want my title corrected, and I want the people who did this held accountable." The CEO nodded slowly. "Done." Richard stood up. "This is ridiculous. She's playing the race card. Get out," the CEO said, his voice sharp. "Now." Richard left. The HR director looked at Aaliyah. "I'm sorry this happened to you," she said. "Truly." Aaliyah didn't respond. Sorry didn't change anything. The following Monday, there was a company-wide meeting. Everyone was required to attend. The CEO stood at the front of the room. "I want to address something that's come to light recently," he began. "It's been brought to my attention that certain employees have been subjected to harassment and discrimination." People shifted uncomfortably. Specifically, Aaliyah Brooks has been treated in a way that is completely unacceptable. And I want to publicly apologize to her. All eyes turned to Aaliyah. She sat in the back, arms crossed. The CEO continued. "Several employees have been terminated as a result of their conduct. This company will not tolerate racism, harassment, or any form of discrimination. Period." There was scattered applause. After the meeting, people avoided Aaliyah. Some looked guilty, others looked angry, but no one said a word. 2 weeks later, Aaliyah was called into the CEO's office again. This time, it was different. "Aaliyah," he said, "I want to offer you a new position. Senior analyst, your own team, a significant raise." Aaliyah looked at him. "Why now?" The CEO sighed. "Because we should have done it from the beginning. And because you've earned it." "With all due respect," Aaliyah said, "I earned it the day I walked in here." "You're right. You did." Aaliyah thought about it. Part of her wanted to quit, to walk out and never look back. But another part of her wanted to stay, to prove that she belonged. "I'll take it," she said. "But I have conditions." "Name them." "I want oversight on hiring. I want to be involved in diversity initiatives, and I want a seat at the table when decisions are made." The CEO nodded. "Done." Aaliyah's first day as senior analyst was strange. People who had ignored her for months suddenly wanted to talk. Some apologized. "I didn't know it was that bad," one coworker said. Aaliyah just nodded. Others pretended nothing had happened. Mark was gone. So was Richard, Linda, Derek. The office felt different, quieter, but not necessarily better. Because the people who stayed, they'd all seen what happened, and they'd all stayed silent. Aaliyah knew she'd never forget that. 6 months later, Aaliyah was sitting in her office when she got an email. It was from a young Black woman. "Hi, Aaliyah. I just got hired at Harrington Company. I wanted to reach out because I heard about what you did. Thank you. You made it possible for people like me to even get through the door." Aaliyah read it 3 times. She thought about everything she'd been through. The humiliation, the anger, the nights she'd cried herself to sleep. And she realized something. She didn't do it for herself. She did it for the next person, and the one after that. Because silence never changed anything. But speaking up, that was how you broke the cycle. Here's the truth. Aaliyah's story isn't unique. Every single day, people are underestimated, dismissed, dehumanized because of the color of their skin, their gender, their accent, their background. And most of the time, they suffer in silence. Because speaking up is risky. Because no one wants to be the person who makes it about race. But here's what we forget. It already is about race. It's always been about race. Staying silent doesn't protect you. It just protects the people who hurt you. Aaliyah won because she refused to let them erase her. She gathered the evidence. She told the truth. And she didn't back down. That's not luck. That's courage. And if you've ever been made to feel less than, remember this. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. And the people who tried to silence you, they're counting on you to stay quiet. Don't. If this story resonated with you, share it, because someone else needs to hear it.